Hello, you're watching this tutorial video because you've got your foundation, your walls, your exterior walls, and a floor on your first Revit file for your Habitat for Humanity project. If you're not at this spot, you're watching a different video. So what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to change some of our views to make this model look a little more realistic or shaded. We're going to change the wall styles for our exterior walls. We're going to put a roof on, and I'll let you figure out how to modify the pitch to meet our code. And we're going to then add some interior walls according to the floor plan that you sketched for your client. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to make this view, this 3D view, look a little more realistic. In our 3D view properties window, you can come up here to graphic display and click edit. Right now we're using the hidden line style. If you go down to shaded, or if you go down to realistic, you're going to get a more colorful and more lifelike view of your building, and you can click OK. Right now my model is just this honking gray mess because my walls are just this generic 8-inch kind of masonry wall made out of like concrete or plaster or God knows what. So the first thing I want to do is change my exterior wall to a brick on metal stud, and I'll click this button, and then when I click over here, when we zoom in, you can see that there's now brick on the outside of that wall, which is kind of what I want, but you're going to be able to change it to anything that you desire later on. So to change the other exterior walls, I'm going to hold down Control and click on the remaining walls so that they're all highlighted in blue, and change that same property by scrolling up to exterior brick on metal stud. You might want to twist your view cube around to make sure that all of your walls are brick on the outside, and if your walls are not brick on the outside but accidentally on the inside, you can change that by clicking the double arrows or just asking me to come help you in class, and I can help you figure that out. All right, the next thing we want to do is to add a roof to this building. So we're going to click on our level 2, or I've already renamed my levels from the previous tutorial to floor and roof. So I'm using my roof view, and we're going to go to our architecture tab up top. We're going to drop down click on roof. I'm getting prompted to save the project, so I'll just click save. You might get the same thing pop up on your screen. And so now we're going to add our first roof to our building. In the drop down menu, we're going to choose wood rafter 8-inch asphalt shingle insulated. And that was what popped up by default for me. The first thing we do is you want to change your overhang. Yours might be 0. You want to change it to a 1-foot overhang, and then make sure that this box right here for define slope is selected. And depending on which way you want your roof to be pitched and sloped, you're going to start by selecting one of the or two opposite walls, and you can decide what that looks like after you give it a try. So my building is oriented in a rectangle. I want my roof to slope from the longer side up to the top. So I'm going to select this wall and this wall, and notice how the blue dotted lines were on the outside facing when I selected that. If I go back here and I'm selecting my wall, I don't want to click the overhang to be hanging inside my house. You can always change that by hitting these blue arrows. That was the same thing with the exterior walls. So I'm going to select these two walls with the overhang on the outside of the building. And then I'm going to come up here and unclick define slope, and then I'm going to click these remaining walls. And then I'm going to hit my green check mark. And it said, would you like the highlighted walls to attach to the roof? And yes, I would, please. So now when we come down to our 3D view, you've got yourself a roof on your building, and it's quite tall. And what you might want to do is to lower the roof so that it is not as high pitched as if you were living in some mountain country and you needed the snow to slope off of your house. And to do that, you're going to change the slope here to whatever you decide to design it as. And I'm going to let you figure that out in class by looking up building codes for wall fam. Okay, so we've got a roof, we've got exterior walls. We need to go ahead and add some interior walls to the home. So we're going to click over here on our project browser, double click on the floor plan, and we're going to insert in our architecture tab a wall. The wall that we need to choose is going to be an interior wall, and there's partition walls and there's all sorts of different kinds of walls that you can pick on the interior. For this one, I am going to pick just your generic 8-inch wall, and there's a couple ways that you can do this. According to your floor plan, you can click and start adding walls to separate different rooms of your home. You can click and drag, or you can have like the chain of the walls connect one to the next. But depending on how your floor plan is laid out, your walls might be different dimensions. So you want to make sure that when you connect these walls, that you can go in and change any parameters that you might need according to your floor plan. Maybe this is only supposed to be 12 feet. And that room was too big. So you can change those lengths and sizes by clicking and adding your walls. What we just did, though, is we did not realize that our walls are now going straight through our roof. These walls are way too high. So what we can do is we'll go back to the floor plan, and we can select the walls that we created and hold down the control key to do so. All right. And up here in your constraints bar, you want the top constraint to not be unconnected. You want to click down and say we want those walls to go to the roof, and click apply. That way, when we go back to our 3D view, there's no walls sticking out from up top the roof, and our interior walls are inside the home.